Hi, Kevin Wright back again with another property finance tip. Now, this week we're going to be talking about the Refurb bridge product and why that can be really useful as a way to finance your refurb projects. So keep watching. Okay, so you're buying a property that needs to refurb it, whether you're refinancing it at an uplifted value to try and pull some of your cash back out, or whether you're just going to flip it on, sell it and bank the cash, and hey, that's never a bad outcome. So how do you fund the refurb? Well, for some people, and it may be for you as well, that having to find a chunky deposit and then some chunky refurb costs puts a big squeeze on your cash. So is there a way that you can do these type of deals but actually put less cash in? And the answer is yes, there is, and it's called a refurb bridge. Now you may have spotted this in my other video, the 5 types of bridging. If you haven't seen that yet, go look for that. But a refurb bridge is one of those 5 types. Now, in simple terms, what is it? Well, a bridger will lend you either 70 or 75% if you're lucky of the purchase price, but they will also lend you 100% of the refurb costs, which means all you've got to find is the deposit. Now, of course, you've got stamp duty and legal fees and valuation fees and all of that too, of course you have. But in terms of money into the deal, you've just got to find your 25% or sometimes 30% deposit. So that makes it less onerous on you in terms of finding cash. Now, the refurb bridge is a relatively recent innovation in bridging terms. I mean, I've been dealing in bridging finance for more than a decade, but for the first part of that, the concept of a refurb bridge didn't exist. Now, it has its roots in development finance because it's pretty much a direct copy of how development finance is structured. So development finance will lend you the majority of the purchase price, and they always lend you 100% of the build costs. So development finance is for new build projects or for big conversion projects. So a few years ago, some of the newer entrants into the bridging lending market were looking for a way to grab a foothold in the market. And of course, being innovative on products is one way to do that. So they thought, hey, let's take how development finance is structured and let's make that available in bridging finance. Even now, it's still a relatively niche product because there's only, a handful of bridging lenders of the dozens and dozens that are available that really offer a refurb bridge. So having 100% of the refurb cost funding can really help you with the amount of cash in the deal. But let's drill down a little bit further onto how that 100% refurb money is distributed. Now, if you, I don't know what the refurb is, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds, whatever that is, they're not going to give that to you all day one. You don't really need it really, because if it's going to take you, several weeks, which it will do, if not months, to fund the refurb, depending on the size of it, you don't need all that money sitting in your bank account day one. So you don't get it. So how you receive it is in tranches. Now, the best way to describe how this is funded is in stages, in arrears, or in tranches, in arrears. Now I'm going to give you a very simple example. Let's just say it's a 45,000 refurb and the bridger has decided they're going to slice that up into 3 tranches. For the first £15,000, you spend that money yourself because they've already lent you the maximum at 70 or 75% of the purchase price that they want to lend. So they're not going to want to lend you more until you've done some work on the property. So you crack on with, let's say, the first third of the refurb. You spend about £15,000, 1/3 of the total 45,000 refurb costs. Now, when you've done that, then notify the bridger. They'll send the same valuer back out to check off what you've done and sign that off and release the first tranche of £15,000. And with most of the lenders, you'll get that within a few days. So now, having replenished your funds, you've now got £15,000. You now do phase 2 of the refurb, and you spend that £15,000, and then the process is repeated. you let the bridger know, they send their valuer back out, they sign off the second phase. So you've now done 2/3 of the refurb, and you get another £15,000 into your bank account within a few days. So now with the second tranche of 15,000, you do the last bit of the refurb money. So you had £30,000 so far in 2 tranches of 15, and you crack on. Now with that final tranche, you've completed the refurb. Now the refurb's complete, the bridger sends their value out for a 3rd time, and then they sign off the work that you've done, and you get the final tranche, the 3rd tranche of £15,000 back into your bank account. So in that way, you've been funded for the 100% of the 45,000 refurb. So at this point, you either put it on the market for sale, or you can start the refinance process, depending on what your exit strategy is. Typically, you'd set up a refurb bridge for 12 months, but of course, you could redeem it at any time with no penalty, because bridging loans don't have redemption penalties. So you just pay for what you've used. So if you set it up for 12 months, but you're able to either sell the property or complete the refinance within, let's say, 8 or 9 months, then you'll only pay interest for the time you've actually used the loan. Now, talking about interest, you may have watched my other video about the 3 ways that bridgers deal with interest. Well, the refurb bridge is rolled up interest. So that means the bridger is going to add on the interest. You don't need to pay it monthly. They're going to add that on as the deal progresses, and then you just settle up at the back end. Now, the reason they're happy to do this is because they're in control of you adding value to the property, because they're funding it. Now, we've brokered numerous refurb bridge deals. So that's it for this week. You know a lot more now about how the refurb bridge product works. Now, hang around, because I've got 1 or 2 other things I'd like to show you. If you enjoyed watching this video, did you know every Monday morning at 8:30 I do a live Facebook Q&A. So if you want to start the week with checking out some answers to your property finance questions, click the link here.